it's Catherine Gordon from CatherineTraining.com and SugarFreedom.com, and I'm here to tell you about my Waistline Challenge. Let me grab a seat first. Oh, this dress is from 1983. I got this when I was 19 years old and wore it my freshman and sophomore year in college. If you know anything about my history, I've struggled with my weight for years. I'm gonna close the door, hang on. When I was in my teens, I managed my weight by starving and smoking and drinking Diet Coke. After I got married and wanted to get pregnant, I stopped all of the bad habits and gained an enormous amount of weight. Went up to 210 pounds when I was pregnant. Don't recommend it. I'm only 5'1". But I managed through weightlifting and sugar freedom. So I got rid of sugar, grains, and conventional cardio and was able to shrink again. However, there's one little spot right there that's left that doesn't quite close. And my research and the science shows that one of the ways that women can stay healthy after menopause, like me, I'm 53 going on 54, is to do whatever we can to maintain the waistline. And I actually have some techniques to do that, and I understand how important it is. One of the things that is a little bit different about me is that I am a working dancer and working choreographer. I work in the musical theater, so some of our dance is not as stringent as what you would see in a dance company, certainly not what you'd see in a ballet company. We don't have to be quite as skinny as some dancers do in order to get hired, in order to work. However, we do have to pay attention to the leanness in the line of the body. So one of the things that dancers do, what I was taught when I started taking ballet at 19, which is when this dress is from, is that we have to draw in, and then we maintain that drawn in position whenever we move. And then if we lose the drawn in position, for example, if we get tired and we start to fatigue and the belly and the waistline start to let go and start to expand outward, we stop, zip it back up, draw it back in, and then go from there. If you have danced and if you've taken a dance class, a technique class, one of the things that you might notice is that, especially in ballet, but even in jazz and tap and other forms, is that you're working at the bar and then you're stopping and learning another set of moves, and then you do that set of movements, stop, learn another set of movements, do those movements, and then you put them all together. When you take a technique class, what you'll see, big difference between dance technique and aerobic dance is, in general, when you're in aerobic dance, you're going to get in and you're not going to stop moving. One of the reasons why is that very often when people do aerobic dance, the goal is to burn calories. And our goal as dancers is very different. Our goal as dancers is to train the body in order to move in a certain way. So I've taken that training and that learning and applied it to my personal training and my small group training practice. Whereas if you were a fighter, you might be learning to brace the abs. And whereas if you were an endurance athlete and you needed to get as much oxygen, as much oxygen as you could for as long a period as you could, you're certainly not going to be drawing in, because drawing in, pulling in the transverse abdominis, the rectus abdominis, the obliques, and the intercostal muscles, drawing in is going to limit your lung capacity a little bit. But we draw in for a different reason. We're creating line and we're creating shape and form. And the incredible benefit of that is that we can apply that training to fitness training for women and men who have seen their waistlines expand. And why is this so important? Is studies show that if we can maintain that waistline within 2 inches of what it was when we achieved maturity, age 19, we can reduce our risk of diabetes, certain cancers, heart disease, Alzheimer's, dementia. It really is amazing. If we can keep this core, if we can keep this center trim and tight, we get incredible benefits in terms of our health. Unfortunately, what I discovered when I was doing a lot of cardio is that if your goal is just to keep going, and burn more calories, very often what will happen is that we will sacrifice this drawn in position. We will sacrifice this tight contraction in order to keep moving. And this is exactly what we don't want. Certainly, if you're trying to win an endurance race and your goal is endurance, that's fine. If you're trying to win an Ironman and your goal is endurance, that's fine. But if you're trying to lean out in the center, which is my goal, then you're going to use a different technique. Now, behind me on the wall is the resistance exercise that we're going to be using in the Waistline Challenge. It's so simple for a good reason. The simpler it is, I believe, the more you're going to be able to focus on technique, and the more you're going to make sure that you're going to keep the abdominals and the core and the waistline drawn in 360 degrees without dropping and without pushing through. So it's easier to learn and maintain excellent form if our exercises are simple. So here they are. Squat, a push-up, a Romanian deadlift, a row, a calf raise, and a curl. So superset here, superset here, superset here, and you're going to do this on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and then you're going to alternate. It's going to be very simple. The only difference is going to be, so this is a superset of a squat and a push-up. This is a superset of a Romanian deadlift and a row. This is a superset of a calf raise and a curl. But what's going to be different is on alternating days, instead of the calf raise and curl, you're going to do a calf raise and a tricep extension. What could be simpler? So we're going to keep it as simple as possible, but no simpler. The primary thing that is going to draw this waistline in and help us lose inches in our waist and all over the body, but mostly the waistline is what we're focusing on, is going to be our nutrition. And our nutrition is going to be Sugar Freedom, the Sugar Freedom program, no sugar, no grains, no processed vegetable oils. Eliminate them out. I do eat meat. If you are a vegetarian or a vegan, there are plenty of websites that you can search. One of them for some really wonderful vegetarian keto options are from ruledme.com. Lots of free recipes there, really delicious, tasty looking recipes. And then if you are vegan and you want to do the Sugar Freedom program, you could Google keto vegan, sugar-free vegan. These recipes are out there. My area of specialty does use animal products. So if you're looking more vegetarian or plant-based, there are resources out there for you. It's just not my area of expertise. So my area of expertise is taking the conventional standard American diet and pulling out the sugar, the grains, and the vegetable and seed oils. My second area of expertise as a certified personal trainer is teaching weightlifting in such a way that's going to be simple, comprehensive, and we're going to make sure that we're going to keep that tight, narrow core. We're going to make sure that we don't overwork the upper trapezius. We're going to keep the intercostals engaged, and then we're going to work around there. And I promise you, it definitely tends to make the body look younger. I'd like to share an experience that I have working in the theater. And I've been working in the theater for, let's see, I did my first professional show in 1990. So do the math, many, many years. And one of the things that we know from working as an actor on stage is that the shape of the body actually is one of the best indicators of a character's age. So if I was going to play a role where I had to age from a young girl all the way to an old woman, if I wanted to appear that I was younger than 14, the costumer would hide my waistline. So you wouldn't have a costume like this, you'd have a costume that was more square. And then as the character becomes a young woman, then you start narrowing the waistline. You'd see sashes, little bow in the hair, the sash with the little bow to show the tiny waist. And then as the character matures, if then you play the part to where you're going to play a mature woman and then finally an aged woman, then you would hide the waistline again, because this tends to be the progression of the body. We start out as a child, more square. We become more of an hourglass in our youth and in our prime. And as our prime continues, we retain that hourglass. And then as women age and after menopause, very often this is where you see the waistline become more square again. And so a costumer would use that understanding in order to create the appearance that the character was aging. Now, of course, our goal is to keep that small and trim core. So I took a picture and did a measurement, and waistline outside the dress, you know, not sucking it in too hard, was at 27 inches. And I do know that when I was 17, that there was a period at which my waist was measured by, I had to have an outfit made for a horse show, and it was measured at 24 inches. So that means that at 27 inches, I'm actually 3 inches larger than when I was 17. Now, what we're basing our 2-inch off of for good health, for maintaining and for reducing the possibility of diabetes and Alzheimer's and certain cancers, is that we want to keep it within 2 inches, correct? So if I did get it measured at 24, I want to make sure that I'm getting my waist to under 26. So the Waistline Challenge starts on the 20th of March, and it ends on the 20th of April. Really, the 17th would be 4 weeks, but we're going to give everybody until the 20th. And so obviously my goal is to get from 27 and get down under 26. I'd really love to get 2 inches off of my waist by this measurement, so I'd really like to see it get down to 25, which is really going to keep me just, you know, 1 inch from where I was when I was 17. And if you want to join the challenge, you need to email me, Catherine@sugarfreedom.com, CATHERINE @sugarfreedom.com, and write challenge in the subject line and say you're interested in joining the challenge, and then I can send you some information on that. And then if you want to join, I can send you an invoice through either Square or through PayPal. We're very casual, not really high tech on these. There is a prize, 2 $125 prizes for the top transformation, mostly focusing on the waistline. I won a transformation contest in 2008, and we really focused at that time on the overall appearance of the body, the change in the body. Those contests, I stopped doing them with my clients because they really turned into weight loss contests. What we were seeing is that the winners, essentially, it was just a numbers game, that, you know, whoever lost the most weight was being awarded the prize. And I was like, no, that isn't what I do. I'm not really so much about weight loss. I'm more about waist loss, because one of the things we know is that weight loss can also include muscle. But if we're seeing tightening around the waist, especially if you're maintaining the waist to hip ratio, right? So say if I measure 27, say if I'm 27 and 38, so that's an 11-inch difference between my waist and my hips. I want to maintain that difference. If I lose a bunch of weight, but then I realize that my waist to hip ratio has actually grown, that's a problem. That's going to indicate that I've lost muscle. So the two measurements, waistline and hip, as the waist shrinks, we want to make sure that the hips aren't shrinking way more than the waist. Do you see what I'm saying? So say I lose an inch off of my waist, but I lose 3 inches off of my hips. Okay, we're taking fat off, but we might be losing some muscle as well. And certainly, as a female over 50, I want to maintain as much as my lean muscle that I can to prevent sarcopenia, loss of muscle, and then weakness as I get more mature and I go into the world of the seniors. Because my mother, when she was only 57, she took a fall in the kitchen, broke her arm and broke her hip, and remained permanently disabled for the rest of her life. This is not something that I want to happen to me. I want to stay strong and agile, retain my muscle, and retain that waistline, the healthy waist over a healthy weight. So that's everything I have for you today. You've got the training. You're going to get the nutrition from sugarfreedom.com. If you want to get the program, it works. I keep saying I'm going to do an update, but the program works as written. So if you get it at sugarfreedom.com, thank you so much. You will be on my email list. It's only $19 and less than most hardbacks cost these days, right? So I do hope that you'll get the program. Join me on the challenge. You could win $125 in just 4 weeks. That's it for today. I'll see you soon. I'm Catherine Gordon from sugarfreedom.com. Bye, everybody. Oh, subscribe to this channel, because if you get into the challenge, even if you're not in the challenge, there will be tips and support and recipes and also demonstrations of how to train with that drawn-in waistline, so your training gives you that great shape and that great line. That's it for now. Bye-bye, everybody. Putting on my glasses.